think I'm just going to add 5 kilograms in each.
The best back, in your opinion, on the pro stage?
Ronnie Coleman has the best back ever. Yeah. Like a lot of people say, Dorian Yates, he had like a different back. He was like very dry and hard and striated. But if Ronnie Coleman stands next to him, the mass is just impossible to beat. I mean, and he's very dry, very detailed as well. So, and because the footage from Dorian Yates is different compared to the footage from Ronnie Coleman, it's like a different era. So, like you cannot really compare it. But if you just watch Ronnie Coleman walk, I mean, the back just hangs, the muscle just hangs off his back. I mean, that's unbeatable to me. And he's still, even though not classic at all, very motivating to me when I watch his videos and watch how he trains, how heavy he did. And he was the first guy that I looked up to when I found out about bodybuilding, about that the Mr. Olympia existed. When I first started, that's when Ronnie Coleman was the Mr. Olympia. So, you know, I grew up watching him, and he's unbeatable to me. He's just the biggest ever. So,
best back?
Yes.
I grew up watching Dorian Yates. I think in terms of beef, it's Ronnie Coleman. I think Dorian was a little grainier, yeah. You know, like this. Yeah. That's Dorian. And I think the front lat spread of Dorian, not only because of his back, but also because of how his chest and everything was put together. It looked more impressive. Yeah. I don't remember any bodybuilder where you could see the lat from the front as good as Dorian's. That's true. Yeah, and then you should not forget Samir Banu. I think there's some pictures, like '83, of course, where he won his Mr. Olympia. It's unbelievable. Very true. The detail and yeah, everything, the hardness, striations, waist like this. Yeah. Yeah.
This was complete. Yeah. Very complete back, and that's very rare nowadays. Like, especially for that era, that's like 10 years before Dorian had his insane back in '93. So that's just, when I look at this as Samir's back, I mean, back is one of the only muscle groups that cannot be too big. Like, it's always the bigger the better. Like, the detail and like every single part of the back is complete, like nothing is lacking. And when he does his back poses, it just looks, you know, like a sculpted statue. And that's what bodybuilding is about. He's one of the, also in my opinion, one of the best Mr. Olympias, the most complete.
Yeah, underrated.
Yeah, underrated for sure, for sure.
Wesley, what was your first show?
My first show was in December of 2013. It was called the Flex Cup at the time. And I only did that show because someone at the gym I was training at back then told me that I should do a show because I was like naturally conditioned. I was working out for 6 or 7 years back then. And I never realized that I looked good enough to be on stage because, as I said before, I watched Ronnie Coleman be Mr. Olympia and I was like, well, that's bodybuilding. So before I looked like that, I cannot get on stage. But then he showed me a poster on the wall and I saw the athletes that competed there last year and they were like smaller than me. They were amateur bodybuilders. I never realized that they were allowed to compete on stage. I never even knew what bodybuilding was. I just worked out at the gym just to be stronger and more muscled. But bodybuilding to me was always something very different, very above my capabilities until I saw that poster. So then I just decided to do that show and as a junior. And then I also won that show as a junior and the overall as a junior. So that motivated me, of course, to do more shows after that. And basically I was 20 years old at the time. And I did the same show a year later, and I won the overall, but this time also of the adult people, but still as an amateur, as a junior. So that's really engraved inside of me. Maybe I do have talent for this. And I simply did shows every single year, a couple of times a year since that date. And that's when I really fell in love with bodybuilding as a competitive bodybuilder instead of just only working out in the gym to build muscle and strength. So that's very good memories, and that's the beginning of my career, basically.
David's first show?
My very first show never happened because I ended up in hospital because of my, how's it called in English? Appendix.
Oh, yeah.
Blinddarm. That was in '99, so my first prep was '99, and my first show was in 2000 in Duisburg. Yeah, I won the juniors overall back then. Yeah, I think that was the show where Dennis Wolf won the men's division.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the North Rhine-Westphalia championship. Yeah.
Pretty close to best.
Yeah, actually, pretty close. Yeah, in 2013, I think I did the Arnold Classic Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, and I won the German nationals again, the super heavyweight. Yeah, that was 2013. Almost like a comeback because my last show was in. No, that's not true. I did one in 2012, but that was not that very good. And I did one in 2011, the Arnold Classic, Columbus. Yeah. I think that's when you're strong.
Yeah.
You can do this cross holder.
That's what I want to practice. I used to do gymnastics before bodybuilding, but never at the level that I was able to do those things.
This would be a really special video.
It would.
Olympia 2020 is cancelled.